Good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to build on my first part of that video about rooting things. These jade propagated bits, I cut off my jade plant about 2-3 weeks ago. Just kind of stuck them in these cups of dirt here. And also down here in these little planter bits. I just use those for propagation of anything from like mango seeds to, well, anything really. But it's all about, knowing your plants and how to care for the root systems that they will eventually put out if you're trying to propagate them. So like jade plants, they can survive a long time without water. So what I did was I first took these cuttings, I put them in moistened soil without a drain hole and just stuck them on the shelf and forgot about them. And already just after 2.5 weeks, not even a full 3 weeks, we already have all these roots. Like, I'm not going to be able to pull this out of here without damaging it, I bet. Oh, maybe I will. There we go. Look at all those babies, man. That's amazing. I love it. Propagation nation. And you'll notice all these roots are healthy and happy. They're not dying or rotting or drowned because I didn't keep watering the soil. I moistened it once and left it alone. Jade plants are that way. Other types of plants, this 5-in-1 pear, for instance, I have to gently mist it and lightly water the soil every day. Like very lightly. I don't even really water it. All I do is just mist the tree itself, just to mist it and keep it moist. Make sure nothing dries out. And then maybe so far I think I've put water in the actual container itself about 3 times since I've got this thing out of the box. Because I got it in the mail. Which also what came today, something else I'm excited about. I'll show you once I'm done misting my grapes here. Grapes are doing amazing too, by the way. As you can see, they're all starting to just grow and grow and grow. But something came in the mail today I'm excited about. Here it is. It looks like just a stick right now, but it's a pawpaw tree. It came to us bare root with just a single root on it, just like this 5-in-1 did. And we're gonna mist it now and just keep it a little bit moist. I already put it into moistened soil that I watered really well, and from that on we're just going to let that soil dry out and then gently mist it every few days just to kind of keep it moist. Just enough to keep it moist too. Like we're not gonna be watering this thing every day. Just like I do to these coffee plants and mango trees. I don't water them every day. I mist them every day. And then probably every 3 days I give them a little bit of water. And that's what's been bringing at least the coffee plants back to life. And it's helped with the mango trees too. The mango trees are getting happier and happier as time goes on. These coffee plants are recovering. That guy's starting to get his leaf standing up more. This one's standing up better. And all of that was because I was just giving them too much water. I rotted their roots away. Roots don't necessarily like water. Roots exist in the absence of water, so they stretch out looking for more of it. So when you saturate them and you water them too much, that's what's going to cause them to drown and die, is you're just giving them too much water when they don't really need it. They need the absence of it. They need it to be moist. So it's actually, when you water from the bottom, that's why that works so much better for most plants, because it's not the plant that needs the water or the moisture. The roots don't even need the water. They need just a little bit of moisture. So they grow to reach where the moisture is, and then they stop once they reach the moisture. Because then once they've reached the moisture and they don't have to grow so much anymore, they can just absorb what's there. Which is why plants in containers have to continuously be watered, or of course they dry out and die. As you can see, what I'm getting at is, it's when you're doing anything with plants, it's all about the roots. You just know the plant in particular, what its roots like. What type of condition do the roots for this plant do well in? Or like my banana tree does really well with lots of organic matter and moistened soil. So that's what's in this pot that has no drainage. Lots of organic compost matter and lots of moisture. There's not standing water in the bottom because that would just cause root rot. But the soil is in there moist, and I make sure I reach my fingers in there and I make sure it stays moist. And the banana loves it. It's growing like crazy. This leaf doubles in height almost every day since I saw it 4 days ago. I can't wait for it to grow another new leaf, and hopefully next year it'll fruit for me when it gets big enough. This is my double Mahoy. It'll fruit once with 1 bunch, and then hopefully after that we'll get 2 bunches. That's why they call it the double Mahoy. It'll fruit with 2 bunches after that. Obviously not on the same plant, but once it fruits and then you cut it down and it grows the new plant out of the corm, that new plant will grow 2 fruits is how it is once it matures enough. Got to have a mature enough corm with banana plants. All of my beach strawberries are doing amazingly well. These guys make a really good ground cover. You can just plant them on the ground and they act like moss. They'll just spread out, but they're a fruiting ground cover. They don't fruit very much, but when they do, it's really yummy berries and they're just really sweet and tasty. I love these guys. The beach strawberry. They grow mostly on the west coast in the United States, is why they're called beach strawberries. I have lots of baby ones growing from seed here. Some there and some over here. I've moved them all around to different places, but they're all growing really well. Pepper plants have woken up for the season and are starting to grow really well. Pick off some of these buds. We want to make sure that we keep the greenery growing. We don't want to have any peppers just yet on these Armageddon peppers, on this guy anyways. The scorpion pepper, yeah, we'll also pick the buds off of it. Keep this guy a little bit different there. Okay, here we go. Hot peppers are fun to grow. If you like growing food at all, grow some hot peppers for yourself. It's a rewarding thing. They can live for many, many years if you protect them from frost. These pepper plants have been alive. This is their 2nd year or going into their 3rd year now. I have a couple smaller ones like this guy that were seedlings last year that are growing well this year now. But just keeping their roots alive and keeping them alive through wintertime, and they'll produce more fruit for you another season. They're tropical plants. These are meant to live in like a jungle area, and then obviously you let them dry out and they like it. But if you give them too much moisture, this type of yellowing of the foliage will happen as the roots start to die off. So I like to pluck it back, and I just trim off all the bits that I don't want to grow for the season, which is this end, and it looks like that whole side. I don't want that to grow anymore this season because it's diseased. So we'll just trim that off. But then after that's gone, this pepper plant will be growing much better now. I'm just gonna set that down while I tear this branch off real quick. There we go. So now the root stalks that's here, the root system on the bottom, will just focus all of its energy up this branch to all this foliage, and it'll bring it back to life a little better. This plant's had a little bit of an issue since winter last year started. When it was a seedling, it kind of got a little bit of a cold snap, and it's never fully recovered ever since. So I might just cull it, but I'm hopeful that it might just spring back to life and pull a Goliath meets David on me and just come bursting out of the forest there, but I doubt it. I think I might end up culling it because it's just not showing the signs like these other pepper plants are. They're just coming right back. I trimmed them once and they're like exploding with growth. So that's how it should be. You trim your plants once, and then, if you're overwintering them, trim them once in the spring, and then they just, poof, that's it. They're ready to grow for the season and take off and become a whole new bush again. You see this is getting woody down low because it's a couple years old now. Eventually it'll be more like tree woody too after this season if I keep this guy going really well and I'm able to take care of it. It'll just get woody and woody and woodier. All our citrus trees. This is our Washington Navel Orange. It's growing all this new growth. When we first got it, it was trying to fruit, and it started to kill the foliage because this tree is not large enough to fruit really yet. It probably could have handled one, but the roots were starting to let the foliage die. So I immediately culled all of the fruit that was on here, all the blossoms and everything, and trimmed off a few of the new leaves that were growing. And it made all of the energy stop for about a week. And now it's putting all the energy into new growth, which is what I wanted. I want to see many more branches on this baby. Make it huge and full of foliage. Similar to how these guys are starting to look. This is one of my Kishu mandarins here. Here's another one over here. And then my Calamundan. These guys are a little bit lacking some nitrogen and iron, but I just refertilized them and gave them some micronutrients yesterday. I'm going to give them a compost tea tomorrow, because that's my compost tea day. Everything else, it's coming, still going. Just bringing my coffee plants back from the brink. They're getting more green all the time. give them some nutrients and stop watering them too much, and I just keep them humid and happy. Our dwarf tangerine is recovering nicely from its root rot and slug problems it had. All the new foliage is looking beautiful again, finally. My philodendron salomes are looking beautiful. They're already starting to show their textured leaves with every new leaf that grows. Hopefully we'll start seeing some Swiss cheesiness out of them. And our cocoa plants, our cocoa trees. This guy's got branches coming out now, and this guy's got lots of new growth on the trunk that's starting to pop out. It's amazing. Just taking care of the roots makes all the difference. Keeping them either from being too wet so they don't rot, or from being too dry so they don't dry out at the same time. Banana trees love that moisture, they love that nitrogen. You can pretty much, like, it's almost, I've heard that it's impossible to drown a banana tree. And I mean, not that I've really tried, but I have overwatered them quite a bit, and they only seem to grow vigorously when that happens. So it kind of does seem to be true. But we'll see as time goes on if I can fruit this guy here in Zone 8B. It's what my hope is. Keep those roots alive. Keep those roots alive. Them grafts are healing. Pull this tape off in about 3 weeks, and hopefully if we did our job proper, they'll be partially healed and ready to start growing new buds out. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. If this video and my first video are helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Join my channel. Keeps me going. Helps me know that people are listening and there's use for this knowledge. That was my intention for starting this channel, was to share all the knowledge, because I believe that all of us have the ability to grow food anywhere we feel like putting the effort in, no matter the type of food. So